Have you noticed that the rules of the game have silently changed while you were busy following the old instructions? You feel it when you check your bank balance on the 25th and realize you've made zero progress. You feel it at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're working twice as hard as you did 3 years ago, yet falling further behind. This isn't just bad luck, and it isn't just inflation. We are barreling toward 2026, and we are entering the great economic filter. It is a silent purge, and it is already claiming people who don't even realize they are being filtered out. The reality is brutal. Automation didn't just replace hard work, it devalued it. And your attention wasn't stolen. You handed it over, one notification at a time. The middle class isn't just disappearing. It is facing a form of economic natural selection. The thumbnail says, "Learn or starve." And that is not a metaphor. In this new economy, you are either an operator who controls the system or a consumer who is farmed by it. By the end of this video, I'm going to hand you the 3 unfair skills that will separate the wealthy minority from the obsolete masses. But before I show you those skills, you need to understand the mechanism behind the filter. Because once you see it, everything happening around you will finally make sense. For the last 20 years, you were sold a script. Knowledge is power. You were told that if you memorized enough information and stacked enough certifications, you would be safe. That script is now obsolete. We have exited the knowledge economy and entered the cognitive economy. Here is the brutal proof. A junior analyst with 5 years of Excel experience can now be outperformed by a $20 per month AI agent that never sleeps. If your value is based on what you know, you are already deprecated. The market no longer pays for information. It pays for the intensity of your application. We are witnessing a massive cognitive stratification. On one side, you have the consumers. These are the dopamine zombies. Their minds are rented property, shattered by algorithms, unable to hold a thought long enough to execute it. On the other side, you have the operators. The operators aren't necessarily smarter. They simply possess the one asset that is becoming the rarest resource on Earth: neural control. While the masses are drowning in distraction, the operators are leveraging the fact that the competition is actually dissolving. And here is the shocking part. The bar for success has effectively collapsed to the floor, simply because 99% of your competitors are too distracted to show up. You don't need to be a genius to get rich in 2026. You just need to be present in a world where everyone else is mentally absent. But here is the catch. To join the operators, you need to master 3 specific skills. And the first one is the most dangerous, because almost everyone thinks they already have it. But the data shows they are lying to themselves. Let's talk about the first unfair skill: deep focus capability. In the economy of 2026, the ability to perform deep work is the equivalent of discovering oil in your backyard, but you don't have it. And the reason isn't just distraction. It is because you are suffering from 4 specific cognitive weaknesses that are destroying your potential. Weakness number 1 is micro-dopamine dependency. You aren't addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the anticipation of novelty. Every time you check a notification, you get a hit. This creates a state of permanent restlessness. You can scroll TikTok for 2 hours, but can't work for 10 minutes because one is frictionless dopamine and the other is actual effort. Weakness number 2 is task switching as emotional avoidance. You think you're busy when you check your email every 10 minutes? No, you are running. Deep work feels uncomfortable. It makes you feel inadequate and slow. So your brain grabs a quick escape to self-soothe. You aren't being productive. You are medicating your anxiety with busy work. Weakness number 3 is fragmented. Working memory. When you interrupt yourself 20 times an hour, your working memory collapses. You literally cannot hold complex ideas in your head long enough to solve them. Your brain has become a browser with 50 tabs open, and none of them are loading. Weakness number 4 is lost boredom tolerance. This is the most dangerous one. You have amputated the mental muscles required for thought. If there is a 5-second gap in your day, you reach for a screen. But listen closely. A mind that cannot endure boredom is a mind that cannot build wealth. To get rich in 2026, you must reverse this wiring. You must become a monk in a world of addicts. You must train your focus until you can hold a single line of thought for hours. But focus is only the engine. It is useless if the driver panics the moment the road gets rough. And that brings us to the second skill, the one that prevents you from quitting when the inevitable chaos hits. This brings us to the second unfair skill, emotional anti-fragility. Be honest with yourself right now. What happens when you hit a wall? When the client cancels, do you pivot immediately? Or do you lose 2 days replaying the email in your head? When the algorithm suppresses your content, do you analyze the data? Or do you disappear for a week? Because you feel discouraged? You are trying to build an empire, but your emotional infrastructure is made of glass. Now listen, this is not entirely your fault. You were raised in a school system that taught you that failure is a verdict. You were trained to believe that an error is a source of shame, not a source of data. But that programming is keeping you poor. Most people aim for resilience, but resilience is just surviving the storm and returning to where you started. In 2026, resilience is not enough. You need to become the Hydra. In mythology, when you cut off one head of the Hydra, 2 grow back. That is the mindset of the operator. They don't just endure chaos, they get stronger because of it. What does this look like on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. when a deal collapses? The consumer spirals. They call a friend to vent. They binge eat. They quit for the day. The operator engages a protocol. They close the laptop for 10 minutes. They strip the emotion from the event. They ask, "What does this teach me about leverage?" And they make a new offer before the hour is up. You need to sever the link between failure and self-worth. The operator views a crisis and thinks, "Good. This volatility will kill off my competition, but I will feed on it." If you need your mood to be perfect to work, you are already obsolete. The market does not care about your feelings. It respects only your output. But here is the danger. You can be focused, and you can be anti-fragile, but you will still fail if you violate the laws of physics. Because the third skill is the one that determines whether you are a dreamer or a killer. Finally, the third unfair skill, speed of implementation. How many million-dollar ideas are currently rotting in your Notes app? How many times have you told yourself, "I'm just doing research," or "I need to plan a little more before I launch"? Let me save you some time. You are not planning. You are procrastinating. You are disguising your fear of judgment as preparation. Here is the difference between you and the operator. When you have an idea, you write it down. You open 20 tabs to research. You watch 3 tutorials. You wait for motivation. You tell a friend. And then you let it die. Because the dopamine wore off. When the operator has an idea, they build the ugly version. They launch it. They break it. They fix it. Explore. While you are spending 3 months designing the perfect logo, your competitor has already launched a mediocre product, failed, fixed it, and made their first sale. Someone right now is making $20,000 a month with the exact idea you abandoned 2 years ago. They aren't smarter than you. They just moved while you were thinking. You need to stop worshiping perfectionism. Perfectionism is just insecurity, wearing a tuxedo. It is a defense mechanism to keep you safe from the market. But in 2026, safe is the most dangerous place you can be. You must understand a fundamental law of physics. Money loves speed. High-value people have near-zero latency. The gap between "I should do this" and "I am doing this" is non-existent. The market doesn't care about your plan. It cares about your prototype. You need to fail faster, so you can learn faster. Stop trying to draw the perfect map before you leave the house. Start walking and draw the map as you go. In this new economy, the slow do not eat, and that leaves you with one final, brutal choice. We are done with the theories. Now, you have a decision to make. And listen, I know this feels heavy. You aren't broken. You were simply raised in a system designed to keep you fragile, distracted, and slow. You were trained to be a consumer. But now, the blindfold is off, and you can see the machinery, the great economic filter I told you about. It isn't coming in 2026. It started while you were watching this video. It is running right now. So imagine the version of yourself that survives it. Imagine yourself 12 months from now, not anxious, not scrolling, not waiting for permission. Imagine the version of you that has the focus of a monk, the anti-fragility of a hydra, and the speed of a predator. That version of you is calm while the world panics. That version of you is wealthy because you are the only adult in a room full of children. That future is available, but the price is your old identity. The menu for the next decade is being written. There are only 2 seats. You can be at the table, eating the fruits of your discipline, or you can be on the plate, consumed by an economy that has no use for hesitation. If you are ready to kill the consumer and give birth to the operator, click subscribe. We are building the minority here. The video ends here, but your filter begins now. Move.